Yo, yo, yo! What is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And here on Friday, we had a fantastic day, 3-1 against the spread, and we brought in 3.34 units. It was a much-needed bounce-back day after going 8-8 overall in terms of our betting record the last 2 days. And when we're looking at this Saturday slate, man, it is absolutely loaded, and I don't want to waste too much time here in this intro. But before we jump into the picks, I do want to shout out today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And Underdog Fantasy has been a partner for a very long time, and they've been our favorite partner on this channel because when you go on that platform, whether you like MLB, NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball, there's something for you. And even saying out those sports, there's 100 more categories that you can pick and choose from, and we've really gravitated towards the pick'em entries. If you want to follow those, and I'm going to have 2 pick'em entries for this massive Saturday slate tomorrow, make sure you are following me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB. That way you won't miss any of those. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm ready to hop into these Saturday picks. All right, first up, we are heading out to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where we have Pittsburgh taking on Wake Forest. And last Saturday, it was a big game, a big play-up game for Wake Forest, and that home crowd was rocking. It really felt like Wake Forest in that second half, when they took the lead, was going to be able to hold it and pull out the outright winner. Unfortunately, they could not get it done, but here they are again on a Saturday, where I'm sure the venue is going to be jumping once again. And Pittsburgh, although they are a pretty decent team, they are still kind of in that middle category within the ACC. And I do think, coming off 2 straight losses for Wake Forest, that this has to be a game that they end up winning and kind of putting themselves back on the bubble. So let's go ahead and lay the 1.5 points here with the Demon Deeks for 2 units for our first bet here on Saturday. 4. Pick number 2, we are heading out to a very fun regionality battle between Arizona and Arizona State. And obviously, we've seen this matchup in the past take place within the Pac-12 conference, but now they're in the Big 12, and guess what? The rivalry is still the exact same, and what we know from Bobby Hurley taking on Arizona in this building is that we've seen some pretty crazy upsets over the years, but I actually think that both of these teams aren't that far away from each other, despite the fact that one is at the top of the Big 12 standings and the other is near the bottom. And for that reason, getting 6.5 points at home with the Sun Devils makes a lot of sense for us. So let's go ahead and take those points for 2 units for our second bet here on Saturday. 4. Pick number 3, we are heading out to the Big 10, where we have Wisconsin taking on Northwestern. And obviously, ever since Chris Collins took control of this Northwestern program, they have been well improved, and one of the things that they've really improved on is knocking off some of these upper echelon type Big Ten teams that come into their building. And this season, I would absolutely put Wisconsin in that category. And the question you got to ask yourself is, Wisconsin's laying a short number here on the road. How many people are going to be tempted to bet them at that short number, given their success this season? And I think the answer is a lot of people. And for that reason, I do like to play contrarian with these types of lines. So let's go ahead and take Northwestern, getting the 2.5 points at home for 3 units for our third bet here on Saturday. 4. Pick number 4, we are heading out to the A10, where we have St. Joe's taking on Loyola Chicago. And this is a great matchup if you like contrasting styles of ball. And in particular, when you look at St. Joe's, they have probably the best guard play within the A10, despite the fact that, there's a lot of narratives that guard play sort of controls college basketball. And I would say that's more so for the tournament play, because during the regular season, their guards really haven't been on the same page. They haven't been meshing well. And I do feel like that's part of the regular season experience at the mid-major level, is just kind of working on that cohesion and making everything work, even if you've had the same guys within the program like St. Joe's has. And when you're looking at this matchup, I do feel like St. Joe's is playing better basketball, and I'm willing to trust it here. So let's go ahead and take St. Joe's on the money line for 2 units for our 4th pick here on Saturday. For pick number 5, we're heading out to Oxford, Mississippi, where we have Auburn taking on Ole Miss. And Ole Miss under Chris Beard this season have kind of finally broken through that bubble, and they're most likely going to be an NCAA tournament team, barring some crazy claps. And when you're looking at Auburn, obviously they have that number 1 ranking next to their name, and they've been rolling really hot. They've been rolling through every single opponent, whether it's at home or on the road. And in this matchup, I do feel like this is one of the teams in Ole Miss that can really challenge Auburn from a defensive perspective and also from that scoring perspective. And for that reason, when Ole Miss is getting 6.5 points, I think they're live, but I am going to stay away from the money line. I don't feel like the price is right on the money lines that I'm seeing right now. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 6.5 points here for 4 units for our 5th bet here on Saturday. For pick number 6, we're heading back to the Big Ten, where we have Michigan taking on Rutgers, and this game is not in Madison Square Garden. It's at the rack, where it always should be when you want to really, impose your home court advantage. I don't understand what that game last weekend was against Michigan State at the Madison Square Garden arena, because it eliminates a lot of Rutgers' advantage, despite the fact that they still have probably the higher percentage in that venue. But when you're looking at this matchup against Michigan, I do feel like Rutgers is due. And I don't want to say due and overuse the word due, because that is a kind of annoying betting strategy at some points, but they are pretty due for a big home win to serve those fans, because those fans show up every single time, regardless of the opponent. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 5.5 points here with the Scarlet Knights for 4 units for our 6th bet here on Saturday. For pick number 7, we are heading back to the SEC, which kind of feels weird to say given that the home hosting team is Oklahoma, but we're going to be taking a look at a matchup between Vanderbilt and the Sooners. And when you're looking at this game, there's a number of different things you can take away. One, Oklahoma has kind of been all over the place this season, and Vanderbilt under Mark Byington in year 1 are kind of having that magical dream season right now where they look like they're going to make the NCAA tournament. They've had some really big upset wins as well, but going into Norman, Oklahoma in this matchup and taking on a team that really can get in your face defensively and also make some shots the way that they have kind of sporadically this season, I do feel like Oklahoma is going to be able to win this game, and they're laying a short number. I say we jump on it for 3 units for our 7th bet here on Saturday. For pick number 8, we are heading out to the Big 12, where we have Kansas taking on Baylor, and I know, the last 2 times we bet on Kansas, they have, one, broken our hearts when they absolutely should have beat Houston, and then last time out against UCF, laying a big number, they almost lost that game outright, and now they're going on the road to Waco, Texas. But I do feel like, again, when you're looking at these teams from a market standpoint, a lot of people are out on Kansas right now, and that's leading to a lot of value in betting their side. And in this particular matchup, Baylor is coming off of that mountain road trip, which I do feel like takes a lot out of you. The Kansas Jayhawks don't even need to win this game when they're getting 2.5 points. I say we buy low on the Jayhawks for 2 units for our 8th bet here on Saturday. For pick number 9, we're heading out to the Southland Conference, where we have McNeese taking on Nichols. And this is a really great matchup that I feel like kind of gets overlooked, because everybody in the world who knows about the teams in this conference think that McNeese is going to be the easy one that arrives out of this conference, gets the bid, and potentially upsets a team in round 1. And I agree. I think they're standalone the best team in this league, but Corpus Christi, Nichols, there are a few different teams in this conference that I do feel like during the regular season can really battle them, especially if they can eliminate McNeese's home venue. And in this matchup, that's exactly what's happening. Nichols is also catching double digits here. I really love this angle and this spot. So let's go ahead and take Nichols, getting the 10.5 points for 3 units. And for a full extra unit, let's go ahead and bet them on the full game money line here as well. For pick number 10, we are heading down to the MEAC, where we have South Carolina State taking on Norfolk State. And Norfolk State has kind of run this league for, man, it feels like forever. But when you're looking at this year and the makeup of this conference, despite them still being, I think, the best team in this league, a team like a South Carolina State has really emerged under year one of their new head coach. And South Carolina State has been a team that we've bet 3 separate times, all being covers. And I do feel like South Carolina State is going to be right there at the end to win this league, to steal the bid, and potentially, to give somebody a run for their money in that first round. And for that reason, they're getting 8 points on the road here against the best team in the league. I feel like this has to be a play-up spot for them. Let's go ahead and take those points for 2 units for our 10th bet here on Saturday. For pick number 11, we're heading out to the MAC, where we have Bowling Green taking on Central Michigan. And Bowling Green obviously has not had a great season within this conference, despite some kind of medium to high expectations. And especially as of late, they've been dropping a lot of games. But when you look at who they've dropped those games to, it really paints a better picture, because they've been losing to the top end of this conference. And meanwhile, on the other side, Central Michigan has kind of been coasting against the bottom end of this conference. And I do feel like that is feeding into this line. I think that's why we're getting multiple possessions here with Bowling Green. And I really love the Falcons in this spot. So let's go ahead and take the 6.5 points here for 3 units for an 11th pick here on Saturday. For pick number 12, we're heading out to the Big Sky, where we have Montana State taking on Portland State. And we've been really loving these Bobcats. They have been nonstop covering for us, including a miracle cover on Thursday as well. And when you're looking at this matchup, again, they are taking on a team that has the glossier looking record, but they're the one laying points. And they're laying points for a reason, because they've been playing a lot better basketball as of late, and they're kind of out of the weeds of playing some really high-end non-con competition, as well as the top-end teams within this conference just in general. And for that reason, I feel like this is an obvious spot for them just to keep that train rolling. So let's go ahead and lay the 4 points here with the Bobcats for 3 units for our second to last bet here on Saturday. All right, for our final bet here on Saturday, we're heading out to a game that I think truly embodies the spirit of college basketball. And man, these home fans have been camping out since Thursday night. It's been insane. This venue is going to be rocking. And when these two teams get in the same gym, it is always insane, whether it is at Utah Valley or Grand Canyon. And there's your introduction. Those are the teams. Did it kind of throw you off a little bit? Because obviously these aren't kind of national brands in the SEC or the Big 12 or the Big 10. But man, oh man, this is a real rivalry in college basketball. It's an electric one. It is always actually one of my favorite games to watch year in and year out. And when you're looking at this game, yeah, Grand Canyon kind of struggled in the early goings, but they have really figured it out here in conference play. And they're laying 9.5 points here. I feel like they're going to be playing up. I think, again, this venue is going to be rocking. And I say we lay those numbers here for 3 units for our final bet here on Saturday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video. And as I always say, if there's a day that we don't have a video post, and potentially Sunday will be that day, make sure you are following me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB, because I will have a text post up on there. But with all that being said, I really want to shout you guys out for just making this a really memorable week in terms of viewership, subscription numbers, comments, likes. It's been really awesome, and I really do appreciate you guys a ton. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.